All right, hello, Wired fam. What is going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. We got the live back in action. Hope you guys are ready to go tonight. Hope you guys are ready for another live. Sorry we've been missing you guys so much, and I'm looking back and forth because we are live on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you're coming to us from YouTube, hello. If you're coming to us on Facebook, hello. Hope you guys are doing well. We got sun that's like coming in the shop door that is right in my face. That kind of sucks because we're doing it a little earlier. So you guys know we used to do our lives. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I don't have my Bluetooth in, so should be good to go. But we used to do the lives at 9 o'clock. We are doing this one at 8 o'clock because, quite frankly, I'm getting older and 9 o'clock is late, okay? So 9 o'clock is really late. We're going to try to start doing them around 8, and we may mix up the times a little bit because I got a lot of people that said, hey, Matt, 9 o'clock, I can't stay up late enough to catch your lives. I really want to catch your lives, but, man, I just can't stay up that late. So we're going to try to accommodate everybody and do lives a little bit earlier in the day. Try to keep them on Wednesday still, but, hey, we are going to try to accommodate some of the early sleepers. As always, when you get on, drop me a hello. Let me know where you're from. Always like to see where you guys are from. And I'm going to bounce back because my YouTube live is over here on the computer, and then my Facebook live is over here on the phone. So if I'm looking off, screen, it's because I'm looking at two different screens here, guys. I got my computer rolling. I got the phone rolling so that I can be live on both platforms for you guys. Because a lot of you guys don't have, right, YouTube. Excuse me, where you can comment. A lot of people, excuse me. Ooh, let me get a drink. Whoa, I'm dying. Got to have the Mountain Dew. Got to have it. All right, so a lot of you guys said, hey, I want to comment on the live, but I don't have a YouTube account. Can you do it on Facebook so I can comment? So we are live on both now. All right. So drop me a hello. Let me know where you're from. I always like to say hello back to you guys. This is our first time live on Wednesday on Facebook, so I'm going to try to make sure I catch the comments over there. It says comments will appear here, so hopefully I can catch those as they come up. But drop me a hello. Let me know where you're from. Sup, Coach? What's up? What's going on? Hope y'all are doing well. I like the photo. I like the photo there. It's a good one. All right, who else we got on? Crappie Kev from Ashburn, Virginia. What's going on? Spurgeon, hello. Todd Pell, what's up from Talbot, Tennessee? Paul Gwynn, what's up, Paul? Hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope you're catching some fish down there in Chat Town. On the chick. What's up, Chris? Asleep. What's going on? Everybody say, hey, sleep. Happy 4th of July. Yes, happy 4th of July to everybody out there. Hope you guys have big plans this weekend. If you plan to be on the water this weekend, please be safe. Okay, be safe out there. There's going to be a lot of traffic on the lake this weekend. A lot of people out there doing their thing. And, hey, you need to practice boating safety. That's the biggest thing. Going out there, being safe, coming back the same way you go out, and being safe, keeping everybody safe on the water. Okay. It never fails. We always get reports every year from the lake where somebody has had an accident, and they range from minor accidents to, as severe as you'd like to think. But let's hope everybody gets out there, comes back in one piece. Just be safe out there this weekend, guys, for sure. Matthew Kofelt, what up? What's going on, man? Dale Joslin. Dew runs through my veins. Central Kentucky. Yeah, mine too. Mine too. I gotta have Mountain Dew, man. I can't go without the Mountain Dew. I gotta have it. You know what I'm saying? It's my tackling fuel. That's what I like to. It's my tackling fuel. Everybody know what movie that's from? Tackling fuel. If you don't know what movie that's from, you could probably Google that movie quote tackling fuel. And it'd probably pop up. Don't do it right now because you got to leave the live, but you can do it later. Tackling Fuel. Who can tell me what movie that's from? That's my Tackling Fuel. Hey, buddy from Wabash, Indiana. What's going on? Out here catfishing. That's what I'm talking about. Are you catching anything? That's what I want to know. Is anybody catching anything? All right, so a couple things that we're going to talk about tonight. One, we got something new to show you guys. I'm excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Got a lot of cool stuff coming your way. We're going to get back into the swing of things, okay? So I know, actually I had somebody comment yesterday. I need to go back and reply to that comment. I saw it come across my feed, but it said, it said something about asked AI when Wired was going to put out a new video. Or AI says when will Wired put out a new video or something like that. Wired is getting ready to put out some new videos. So got one coming to you guys, which is a little bit of a throw. Well, I won't say throwback. It's a kind of a spin, right? So we went down, and I say we, Brantley and I went down to Jekyll Island last week and did some saltwater fishing, some inshore saltwater, and caught speckled trout, redfish, flounder, a ton of gaff top catfish, just some different stuff. Just kind of mixing it up a little bit. And what up, Joe? Joe Nash in the house on Facebook. What's going on, man? Sherry Parker from Greenville. Hello, hello. T. Roy Evans, Mark Twain, Lake, Missouri. What's going on? Hey, you're alive. Joe Nash says, hey, you're alive. What's up? Yes, I am. Holy cow, a live Wired. Good to see you, Matt. I am back, baby. We are back. So, high quality H2O. That's what I'm talking about, Travis. High quality H2O. So, yeah, we went down and did some saltwater fishing and got that video coming for you. Actually, it's really, really funny. You guys are going to get to meet someone new in the Wired family who you have not met before or seen before. Not real big on talking, but you guys are going to get to to meet somebody new that you have not seen before. So that's going to be really cool. Looking forward to that. And then getting to see a different side of Wired, because you guys probably don't know. I think I've told y'all before, but I grew up in the salt. Okay, I grew up from the time I was 8 years old to the time that I was 13 years old, 14 years old, somewhere right in there. I grew up in Southeast Texas in the salt, in the marsh, okay? I grew up back in the marsh, on the flats, oyster beds, grass flats, fishing tidal fishing and, high tides, low tides. Just that's kind of how I grew up fishing, flounder fishing, dragging mud minnows on a Carolina rig across the bottom, and love it. It's a passion of mine. I look forward to getting back to some of that fishing and sharing that with you guys, because I do love that type of fishing as well. And it's in my blood. It's part of what I did growing up. And I had a really, really good friend of mine that lived in Texas with me, that his father took us all the time. We went fishing all the time. Great guy, great fisherman, great angler. Taught me a lot, okay, about what I know about fishing today. And his name was Mr. Gibbs, okay? We called him Mr. Gibbs because his last name is Gibbs, obviously, and that was it. It's Mr. Gibbs. I know his first name, but I ain't never called him by it, so I still call him Mr. Gibbs to this day. But taught me a lot about fishing, a lot about what I know today, and kind of made me a little bit of the angler that I am today. You know what I mean? But anyway, went down, did some saltwater fishing, got some video coming your way for that. Got some crappie videos coming, got some new stuff coming. We're going to show you at the end of the show. So if you're on, don't leave, because I got a big surprise for you guys at the end of this show. We're going to wheel something in here. We're going to show you guys something special. I kind of gave it away just a hit a little bit, but that's all right. We're going to wheel something in, show you guys what's going on. And, we're just here to talk fishing, okay? It's summer. It's hot. Dave Williams, what's going on, Mr. Dave? We got so East Tennessee Crappie Tournament Trail. We got a new schedule starting this month for that. It's a really, really cool schedule. Got a lot of things coming this year with that. Going to have a lot of really cool shows for you guys on that front, because we've got big fish events. We've got sections events where they're going to put us in certain sections of the lake, and we have to find our way, find those fish. We've got a bracketed Angler of the Year this year, to where the Angler of the Year will be a bracket at the end, like a March Madness bracket, where the top, I think it's 6 teams, are going to duke it out. They're going to be head-to-head. It's going to be head-to-head matches in a March Madness type of basketball bracket, and we're going to do that for the Angler of the Year. So any of the top 6 teams could end up winning Angler of the Year, depending on how they fish at the end of the year. It's going to be really neat. We got a lot of stuff going on. Ray Outdoors, what's going on? How's it going? It's going well on this side. But really, really cool stuff coming down that pipe. And, hey, it is summer, but that doesn't mean you can't go catch fish. As a matter of fact, I'm going to reach over here and grab something that I'm getting ready to start doing to catch fish. And we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. And I'll show you guys, because I get asked. Well, let me grab them real quick. Hang on just a second. All right. Let me grab my boxes. Everybody see what that is, right? Oh, yeah. We got the crankbaits, baby. All right, so we got crankbaits, or I have crankbaits coming out of my ears. There's plenty of crankbaits in these boxes. I mean, we got 1, we got 2, 3. I mean, we got crankbaits coming out of our ears. Plenty of crankbaits, okay? Everybody asks me all the time, what's your favorite crankbait to pull for crappie? Well, I don't necessarily have a favorite, okay? So everybody says, when do you start pulling crankbaits for crappie? Well, this year was a little different, okay? Because we really didn't get, here in East Tennessee, we really didn't get any hot weather until last week. I mean, last week was really the first real hot weather that we got, okay? So last week was kind of our hot weather, or the start of our hot weather. It got up in the 90s, and the temperatures in the lake just shot right up, okay, surface temps. But it's different every year. I typically wait because spawning temps are 70, 72 is prime spawning temp, okay? And then I kind of wait till that surface temp gets up in the 80 range before I start pulling crankbaits. Once it gets up in that 80 range, that's when I start looking towards my crankbaits. I start looking at, getting these bad boys out, getting them all set up, getting ready to rock and roll. As you can see right here behind me, obviously I don't have my rod holders on there yet because they go right there on that little puck. I don't have my rod holders on yet. Oh, you can't see it on Facebook. That little puck right there. Okay. So, don't have my rod holders on yet. I run Driftmaster rod holders on a 18-inch T-bar is what I run. But the water temp is key, okay? The hot weather is key. The water temp is key. It sets those fish up. I really like to see a thermocline, to be honest with you. I love to see a thermocline. It's too hot to fish waiting on fall. It ain't never too hot to fish, okay? Now, to Dave's point, it does get hot, okay? And you do get a lot of traffic on the lake, and you do get a lot of, what I'll call short mornings, okay? And by short mornings, I mean, I might go out there and start fishing because it's daylight at 6:30. So I might start fishing at 6:30, and I may fish till 9:30, okay, or 10. 3.5 hours of fishing. Typically, if I'm on fish with crankbaits, that's pretty much your window, okay? 9:30, 10 o'clock, you're done. And, that's fine with me. I don't mind going out there and doing that because I'm off the water. Typically, the lake lice hadn't shown up. I'm typically off the water in that, like I said, 9:30, 10 o'clock range, and I've got, enough fish to make it worth going, make it a fun trip. And, if you get on them with crankbaits, and I will say this, I had a guy ask me the other day, Matt, where do you know how to pull, or how do you find out, how do you know where to go pull crankbaits, okay? Well, it's real simple, okay? You're looking for bait balls, all right? Once you find the bait balls, you're looking for those fish that are suspended around bait balls, okay? If you find bait, you find fish, you'll catch crappie on a crankbait, all right? If I pull in a creek or out on the main river on a flat and I'm driving down through there and I don't see any bait, I'm probably not going to pull crankbaits in there. I want to see bait balls. If I find bait balls, I'll find fish and I will find crankbait fish. I'm looking for those individual little groups, those little pods, because in the summer they will group up. I'm looking for those 3, 4, 5, 8, 10. You really won't find wads of fish in our area in the summer that are out floating because they're feeding on bait. There's 2, 3, 4, sometimes 6, 8, 10 but you're not going to find a whole lot more than that. You're not going to find a wad of 50 fish when you're pulling crankbaits. Generally, it's going to be those little bachelor groups, if you will, of fish, 3 to 5, okay, around bait. That's what I'm looking for. If I don't see bait, I'm probably not pulling crankbaits there because I'm looking for fish that are actively feeding, okay, early in the morning. What's up, Ray Pratt? I want to see Joel pulling plugs. I do too. We got to get Joel on some crankbaits. We need to go down to Dale Holla and pull crankbaits with Joel because he has been telling me that the fish down there are suspended and open water and you can catch them on crankbaits. So we need to make that happen for sure. But let's go back. Bait, fish, that's where I'm pulling crankbaits. That's how I know to stop and pull crankbaits. What is my favorite crankbait? Well, that's, what's up, LaRue? That is the $1 million question. Okay, what crankbaits do you pull? Well, I'm cheap. I don't like spending a ton of money. I regardless of what my wife says, because if she was down here right now, she'd say, that ain't true. You spend all kinds of money on fishing. I do. But I don't like losing all kinds of money. Okay. So when I'm looking at a crankbait, first of all, what I'm looking for is, do I really need to spend $9 on a Bandit crankbait? I have some, okay? There's some in here, so, don't shoot me down when I'm preaching good. But on the average, no, I don't typically spend $9 on crankbait. My crankbait of choice is an Arky crankbait, okay? My favorite is an Arky. And I like the 220 size for our area. On certain lakes, I would run the 330, I think it is, or 320, which is the bigger Arky. The small Arky, okay, right here, let's see. Where's one of my favorite colors? One of my favorite colors right here, okay? That is the Arky 220. Why do I like the Arky 220? Well, it's simple because this crankbait runs the truest that I've found out of the box, and it has great hooks on it, okay? I can't tell you how important. I don't know how fish are magicians, but I'm telling you, a crappie can get rid of some treble hooks, okay? A crappie can get rid of some treble hooks pretty easily. So I like an Arky 220, okay? And also, let's show you the bigger one while we're at it. I got some bigger ones right here somewhere. Well, I want to say it's a 330 or 320, one of the two. It might be a 320. But actually, I have this same color in the larger size, so let's show you that. Right there. I believe that's it. All right, so in comparison, all right, there you go. In comparison, one over top of the other. That top one is the 220 series or the 200 series, and the bottom one's the 300 series, so you can see kind of the bigger size. They've got a great rattle in them, okay, as you can hear. And they're just good crankbaits. They run well. They've got a bajillion different colors. Okay, I'll show you guys some of the different colors they have. I know some of you guys like the more natural colors. They've got the natural colors, okay. You got that one. That's a good one. I catch a lot of fish on it. They've got the crawls, okay. There's the brown crawl with the orange belly, brown and orange, okay. Crawls. I'll tell you what. My picture on Facebook seems to be a lot clearer than the one on StreamYard. There's the Fire Tiger. Okay, everybody likes the Fire Tiger. There's a Fire Tiger crawl. All right. They've got your splatterbacks. Okay, there's your white splatterback. All right. They've got just a million colors. Here's a chartreuse and glitter. That's kind of your clown. There's your clown right there, your chartreuse with glitter. I mean, they've just got the color. The colors are endless. This is a good one. I catch a lot of fish. I've got 4 or 5 of these because I catch a lot of fish on this color. This is actually a chartreuse in red. Chartreuse in red. That's got the bleeding red hooks on it. Okay. So, I mean, like I said, the colors, they're kind of endless. You can just go on and on. Arky.com. I'm not sponsored by them. I buy them just like you guys will or would. But that's what I pull the most, okay? Then probably my second choice as far as crankbait is concerned is the – where are they? No, they're in the other box. Hang on. They're in this box right here. Don't forget this box. So probably my second choice would be the flicker shad. Okay. Probably my two favorite colors in the flicker shad that's the pink tiger. Okay. The pink tiger. In a number 5, I like the number 5 flicker shads for crappie. I like the bigger 7s if I'm, the 7 if I'm walleye fishing. But for crappie, I like the 5s. Okay. And then the next best color, by far, especially on Telco Lake, if you're fishing Telco Lake, is the purple tiger. Okay. So that purple tiger right there is probably my second favorite color. It's got a little brown, a little purple on the side, a little white pink. I mean, that's probably my second favorite. But I do like a flicker shad and a flicker minnow. So, the flicker minnows, that is a number 7 right there, which I'll pull a 7 for crappie, but I do like the flicker minnow. I don't mind pulling a flicker minnow in a 7 because it's a lot more slender, okay? The backside of that bait is a lot more slender than the number 5's flicker shads. So, here's a good one. Let's see. That's a good one right there. That translucent with that little silver tail. I really like that one, okay? That's a good one. And then also that solid white with the red belly is a good one. Okay. So the flicker shads, I'll pull those. Of course, a lot of you guys like that one right there, right? The fire tiger. So I do pull a lot of flicker shads as well. Some flicker minnows, but flicker shads mostly. And then when I'm looking to pull them really deep, of course, I've got the Bandit 300s, but when I'm looking to, that's a Bandit right there and Fire Tiger, okay? But when I'm looking to pull those really deep, I don't know if you guys have ever seen one of these. I've shown these before on this channel, but this is a Rick Clun, okay? It's called a Rick Clun. It's got a very unique bill on it. You can pull these jokers deeper than any other crankbait in this box. Really, really good crankbait to pull those deep, okay? And very, very good. Tracks really well in the water, pulls really well. It's straight coming right out of the box. Very good crankbait. It's a little harder to find those Rick Cluns, but the color choices, they don't have as many color choices for crappie. Obviously, that's the shad color right there. That Tennessee shad, and then you've got, this is another one that I like right here, and I can't remember the name of this one to save my life, but it's kind of I think it's a blue heron or something like that. It's got the blue back, silver and chartreuse, but really, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simplistic. I don't have a whole lot of just weird off the wall stuff. Most of the stuff I have you guys have seen before. As far as crankbaits are concerned. And as far as crankbaits, everybody wants to know what's that perfect color, what's that magical color. There's not really a magical color or a perfect color. Really, to be honest with you guys, I mean, just experiment with different colors. If you go with the Arky crankbaits, you can afford to, get enough of the different colors that you can kind of rotate through. And a lot of times I will find they'll hit one color one day, and the next day they won't touch it. I mean, they want a completely different color. When you're pulling crankbaits, it's simply a reaction strike. That's all it is. It's just a reaction bite. You're not catching fish because they just want to eat. I mean, they're seeing that crankbait, they're hearing that crankbait, and it's just natural for them to react to it because it's down there, it's shaking, it's vibrating, it's making noise. They look up, they see it, it's coming by them so quick, they don't have a choice but to just think, I got to get it. And it's just a reaction strike, okay? So it's not like they're really taking the time to inspect it like they would if you're fishing a brush pile with a jig, or you're soaking a minnow over a brush pile and you see those fish come up, look at it on your live scope and go, do I really want to eat that? And they'll sit there it takes 45 seconds for them to decide they want to eat it. That's not what's happening with crankbait. Crankbait, they're looking up, they're seeing it, and they're hitting that joker, and they're taking off. Okay. Richard Hagg, what's going on? Sean Dartery, what's up from Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania and Kansas, what's up? That's what I'm talking about. Joe Nash said, Dale Holla, let's go. What size line do you use to pull your crankbaits, mono or fluoro? Very good question, Joel. I'm sorry, Dave. I didn't mean to curse you. Dave. I know I called you Joel. I'm sorry. All right. So Dave says, what size line do you use to pull your crankbaits, mono or fluoro? Mono, always mono when I'm pulling crankbaits, okay? And I'll pull crankbaits with as little as 6 pound test. I don't typically like to go below 6 pounds. 6 pounds typically my limit when I'm pulling crankbaits. I've done it with 4 pound before, but I typically like to stay with 6 because 4 to me is every time I see that rod go down, I'm thinking, oh, don't break. But mono for me, and I'll tell you why, because when you're pulling a crankbait, if you don't have some type of give in that line, because mono has stretch, right? If you're using braid, you will tear those. If you'll look right here, the hooks on that little crankbait are not that big, okay? And you will tear those hooks plumb out of a crappie's mouth if you don't have some give in that line, especially when you're pulling them a mile an hour to a mile and a half, up to 2 miles an hour. You will jerk that crankbait out of that crappie's mouth if you don't have some type of line stretch. So I like to have line stretch when I'm trolling. That goes for any type of trolling. And I like to troll with mono. So good question. I won't go above 10 pound, but me personally, I'm 6 pound to 8 pound. That's it. I don't waver from 6 to 8. And as a matter of fact, I got some right here. This is what I actually use. That is a vicious 6 pound test, okay, in high vis. So it's a vicious 6 pound high vis. That's what I typically use when I'm trolling. And I'm actually getting ready to rig up a couple of rods back here, put some new reels on tonight. But 6 pound vicious is pretty much what I stick with. It's a thin diameter. It's a great line. There's not a whole lot of memory in it. There's memory in all mono. You're never going to find a mono that's just memoryless. But it's very, 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 very good as far as memory is concerned. There's not a whole lot of memory in that line. And I really like it. So 6 pound vicious is probably what I go with most of the time. I will use some other lines because it's just trolling. So I don't have to have a line that's perfect. So sometimes I've got some Crappie Max back there, and I think I have some slime line back there on the wall that is 6 pound, and I'll use those from time to time. But vicious 6 pound is what I use the most because you can get this. I think they actually had a price increase, but you can get a roll. This has 2,360 yards on it, and I think it's $9 or $10, $8, $9, $10, something like that for a roll. So, you get a lot of line for a little money, and I'm cheap. So I like it. I like the vicious. And, of course, my braid is bonehead and some ACC braid. I like the ACC braid as well as far as braid is concerned because I have switched over to a lot of braid. Everything on any of my casting rods is braid anymore, but that's good line. It's on my rods. Yes, sir, it is. But that's what I use as far as line. Well, Dale says, what speed do you like to go when pulling cranks? And actually, Mark Vance has actually asked the same question. How fast do you troll? So let me answer those questions. So when I'm trolling crankbaits, okay, I typically pull. Now, I am going to change my ways a little bit this year, okay? So when we go pull crankbaits this year, I am going to change my ways, and I am going to start using these babies right here. This is a walleye board is what this is, but we're going to turn it into a crappie board. And this is a church tackle walleye board, okay? Church tackle walleye board, the walleye board, okay? We're going to start using these to pull our crankbaits for crappie, okay? Some of these you can get a telltale flag, that'll come up and down when you get a bite. But for the most part, you get a crappie that's a keeper over. a keeper plus on a board like this, you're going to know it's on there because this board's going to start shaking and shimmying, or the board's going to be out here running its pattern, and when the fish gets on it, it's going to slide into the center of the boat because it's got more weight on it. It's got more drag. It's dragging in. So, you can pretty much tell when there's a fish on one of these. You don't have to have a telltale flag. A lot of the telltale flag stuff is because up in the Great Lakes, they can't tell because they've got a lot of winds, okay, a lot of waves. But we're going to run these with our crankbaits this year, and we're going to experiment a little bit with playing with planer boards, okay? But in the past, the way that I have done it is with an inline weight, and we're still going to use an inline weight on those boards, okay? So stay with me real quick because this is an inline 2-ounce inline weight, okay? And it looks like a little torpedo, okay? Got a little swivel on the top. The swivel is important. So if you're going to go get those weights, make sure you got a swivel on them because the swivel is important. So what we're going to do is we're going to tie the main line to the swivel, okay? Then we're going to tie a leader back here to the back, about a 3-foot leader, maybe 4 foot. We're going to come off the back 3 or 4 foot. We're going to put the crankbait back here, okay? What this allows me to do is this allows me to set the depth on my crankbaits to whatever. I can run any crankbait I want, okay? Doesn't matter what depth it runs. Doesn't matter what the package says. Like if you look at one of these flicker shads right here, this is a number 6 flicker shad, which I will be pulling this year, but that's number 6 flicker shad. So if you look at a number 6 flicker shad, it's going to tell you, let's see, right here on the bottom, it's going to say slow rise, 10 to 12 foot depth. Okay, so that's going to be a 10. It's going to run 10 to 12 foot deep. Okay, that don't matter. It don't matter what it says. It don't matter if it says 2 foot, 4 foot, 27 foot, 44 foot. It don't matter because guess what? When I put this 2-ounce inline weight behind it or in front of it, okay, behind my rod, in front of the crankbait, okay, when I put this down there, I can set my depth with this weight, okay? So I'm going to be able to set my depth with the weight and not the crankbait. Okay, and then the crankbaits can only have basically from here to the crankbait, okay, for that depth variation. So that crankbait that runs 10 to 12 feet behind this may drop down to here, whereas one that says it runs 6 to 8 feet may be here, okay? Not a big difference in the way where they're going to run behind my inline weight. So my inline weight is very important, and I run a 2-ounce. I've experimented with a 1 and a 1.5 and a 2 and a 2.5 and a 3. I've went all the way up to 3.5, 4 ounces behind, and the 2 ounce is what I find to be the most consistent and the best for me to run. So all of my inlines are now 2 ounces, okay? And another thing that it allows me to do is I can get to depth faster. So I don't have to have, 60 feet of line out behind the boat. I can have 20 feet of line out, and I can run these because there is some drag, okay? So I can have 20 feet of line out and be running 16 foot deep, but I'm below the boat, okay? I'm closer to the boat. I'm not so far behind the boat, and I can turn on a sharper radius and not get my crankbaits tangled up with one another, okay? So it kind of works a lot of different ways. It does really well to get down to those fish, and most of the time those fish aren't as skittish. They're not spooking as much because they're deeper in the water column. Those fish are down deeper, and you're not spooking fish as much. Now, with this, and I introduced this because for you guys that asked how fast I troll, with these, I'm at depth, and I don't have to pull them. See, a lot of guys run 1.8 to 2 mile an hour because they're trying to get the depth on their crankbait. They're trying to pull that crankbait fast enough that it gets to depth, okay? I can use this right here, this inline lead, and I don't have to pull them as fast to get them down to depth. So not only am I getting down to depth faster, I'm getting more consistent depth, but I'm also not burning my trolling motor battery as much because I don't have to run as fast in my boat to stay at depth, okay? So it's a very, very effective, very, very good way to pull these crankbaits in the summer and catch a lot of fish and be consistent catching fish. So, I run, my rod setup is out either side. I've got a 12, 10, an 8, and a 6-foot rod out either side. 12, 10, 8, 6, 12, 10, 8, 6. So I'm staggering my rods, keeping everything separated. And I can run 8 rods, 8 crankbaits, and with those planer boards, I'm going to be able to separate everything even more, which that planer board will hold this 2-ounce weight, no problem. And it's just going to be a lot of fun, and you guys can have a lot of fun doing it. You can catch a lot of fish doing it. It's really, really fun to do. So I will troll anywhere from 1.2, because I always like to be above a mile an hour because if you want that crankbait working, you don't want to be going so slow that crankbait isn't working and isn't rattling and doesn't have that shimmy, that shake that it's supposed to have. But you want to be going slow enough that you're not burning up your trolling motor battery for no reason. So I'm somewhere between 1.2 and 1.8 is typically where I stay when I'm pulling crankbaits. That 1.5, 1.6 is kind of that middle ground, and that's kind of where I start at, is that 1.5, 1.6. And if I know I'm in fish and I'm going through fish and I'm not getting bit, I'll rather speed up or slow down. I may have to adjust my depth a little bit. If I slow down, I may have to go a couple cranks on each rod, get it up a little bit back into the strike zone. Or if I speed up, I may have to let a couple more feet of line out. But, you know, it's all about getting that crankbait working the proper way so that those fish get that strike, okay? So you get the reaction strike out of those fish. Jimmy Pratt. Hello, Matt. Actually, I know Jimmy's messing around right here. So Jimmy asks, hello, Matt, do planer boards work with 6-foot Wakeboat Waves? And I know Jimmy's messing around with us right now, but actually in the summer, I actually like when those boats come by, okay? And I'll tell you why, because there's a lot of times when those fish will trail a crankbait, okay? They'll be trailing a crankbait, and you'll go across some waves, or waves will hit your setup. Oh my gosh, I got the hiccups. Waves will hit your setup, and it moves that bait in the water column, okay? And those fish will strike because of that change, that variation of the bait, okay? The bait moves, it does something different, and those fish will react and hit that bait. So I know Jimmy's messing around when he says with 6-foot Wakeboat Waves, but actually I don't mind it. I do not mind waves in the summer that actually, in my opinion, I have caught a lot of fish behind wake boats or behind boats, wakes from a boat. So yeah, actually I don't mind it at all, Jimmy, to be honest with you. And hey, Stuart, good evening. But yeah, I don't mind it. It's actually welcomed, to be honest with you, because it changes that bait, and a lot of times you get a reaction strike out of it from fish that are trailing. So a couple things we're going to do tonight is we're going to put some reels on a couple rods, because I've got a whole bunch of reels over there on the desk that I bought recently and haven't spooled any of my rods. And I got to noticing the other day that everything that I have right now, every reel that I have, and you guys that wonder what reel I run, and we're going to talk about this here in a minute, but every reel that I have right now is on a 6.5 footer. Okay, so a 6.5 foot ACC crappie stick, and every reel that I have is on 6.5 footers, and all my 6 footers are over in the corner. So Fluger Try-On size 25. Okay, Fluger Try-On size 25. There it is right there. That is my go-to. I like the Fluger Try-On, and everybody says, well, why do you like the Try-On over the President? Well, because it's a little cheaper, but you still get the quality of the Fluger. And guess what? I go through reels pretty quickly when I'm guiding and doing everything that I'm doing. I go through reels, and these will last. I mean, a Fluger Try-On, I think last time I bought them, they were $40-45 a reel, and they'll last me 2 or 3 years, and then they're tossed. I mean, they're just throwaways after that. Once the bails start getting weak, you get, where they start sagging, and a lot of times you'll set the hook and it'll go because that gets the springs in here get weak, and it just kind of wears. It's just wear and tear. I mean, you could rebuild them, but for $45, just go buy new ones. But after you get 3 years out of one, that's good in my book. So that's what I run. And I've gotten so used to that. What is this? What is the ratio? What is the gear ratio on this reel? Gear ratio is, can't remember, 5 to 2 to 1. Okay. So once you get used to a gear ratio and you get that speed down of crawling a bait across a brush pile, or fishing an open water fish, crawling a bait across an open water fish, or shooting docks, or whatever it is, however you're presenting to those fish, you start changing your gear ratio and you start reeling the same way, and all of a sudden your bait's moving faster or slower. And it's one of those things where once I get used to a gear ratio and a reel, that's what I stick with. I'm a creature of habit, okay? Creature of habit, no doubt. But we are going to put these on a few rods tonight. So this is actually a 6-foot ACC crappie stick. And we are going to, this is a 2-piece, okay? But we're going to get a couple of these rigged up and, you know, get some reels on them. And really just doing it because, well, one thing in the summer, if you're out there pulling crankbaits, okay, and the crankbait bite quits, you can always find fish when the crankbait bite ends on brush piles, okay? And everybody says, well, what if I want to stay out there past 10 and that crankbait bite dies? Well, pick you up a little 6-footer or 6.5 or whatever and go out there and look at brush piles, because a lot of times in the summer, especially if you find fish and you're catching crankbait fish and they quit, you can move directly to brush that is near or right in that same general area of where you were catching those crankbait fish. And when those fish slow down, guess where they're going? They're going to the brush piles. Okay. Rick Martin, what's up? Ray said, I will probably quit fishing after this weekend's tournament from all the boats. There'll be a lot of boats out this weekend. Like I said, it's 4th of July. There's going to be a lot of boats. So, hello, Mac. Glad to see you on online live. Well, I appreciate that, Rick. I'm glad to be back. Glad to be on the live for sure. So, you can take a rod, you can take an ACC or whatever it is you have, and you can go to brush piles, you can cast brush piles, and you can find fish on brush. Okay. Now, what baits do I use? You guys know, I mean, if you watch the channel long enough, I like a bonehead tackle stump bug. I like a slim stick, but the bait that I like the most in the summer, okay, I've got them right here somewhere. Let me look. The bait that I like the most in the summer is this one right here. Okay. This is called the Mini Slim. This is what I've deemed it. Okay. This is a slim stick from Bonehead that is 1.75 inches. Okay. It's 1.75 inches. They've got it in different colors. That's the slick neon. Okay. Kind of a monkey milk and with a little neon green tail. Okay. That's the Mini Slim, 1.75 inches. There's the purple and chartreuse. Okay. Purple and chartreuse one. But it's a little bait. Little bait. Okay. When it's hot in the summer and those fish have been feeding all morning and then they hit brush, okay, you take that little Mini Slim and you go to those brush piles and you put that bait in front of those fish and you will get a bite out of that little bait. Okay. Downsize in the summer, guys. When you get out there in the summer, you've been out there all spring and you're throwing big 2 1/4, 2 1/2, 2 3/4 inch baits, whatever it may be. You know, you're throwing something with a big old giant curly tail on the end of it or whatnot. And then it gets hot and you go to those fish and those fish feel the same thing you feel. Okay. Let's say you get up in the morning, you go out there on the lake and you're sitting there and you're fishing. And you think, man, I'm hungry. I need me a biscuit. We bring in biscuits. Yeah, I got them biscuits right here. You want sausage or you want egg or you want bacon and egg or sausage and egg? And you're like, give me that bacon and egg. And, you know, you're up there munching on that biscuit and, you know, you're fishing and having a good time. And then all of a sudden it gets hotter than crap. About 11 o'clock, you're sitting out there and you're sweating your balls off. And you think to yourself, hey, it's hot. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go to the house. Do you want that biscuit? No, you don't want that biscuit. You want to go home. You want to get in the air conditioning. You want to go get in the truck, cool off, right? So, you know, if somebody swam maybe a little treat by you, maybe little individual pack of M&Ms or something, you might munch on them. Hey, that ain't too bad. So think about that. Same fish are kind of the same way we are in a lot of ways. And you know, you're not going to want a big meal when it's hot out. When it gets hot for those fish, they're not going to want a big meal. They're going to want something that they can just slurp in. They can digest easy. They don't have to fight it. They don't have to, you know, no muss, no fuss. And that little bait, okay, that little bait will catch a lot of fish in the summer. So downsize in the summer, you'll catch fish. Move to those brush piles when it gets midday, especially when that sun gets up. Big, bright, sunny day and that sun comes up. Well, where are those fish going to go, guys? They're going to go to shade. They're looking for shade just like you are, okay? They get hot. They want to go to the truck and get in air conditioning too, okay? So that is a really, really good way to put a lot of fish in the boat in the summer is start out with those crankbaits. You know, start out trolling. And a lot of people pull jigs in the summer. I'm not saying you can't, but I like that reaction strike from a crankbait. It's just something fun. And to watch those rods, I mean, when they hit a crankbait, by golly, I mean, that rod just buries, and it's a lot of fun. So, because it's such an aggressive strike. And but when they stop on the crankbaits, go to brush, that sun gets up, they're looking for shade. Now, another thing, they're going to be tight to that brush. When you find them on that brush, they are going to be tight. Rick Martin says, setting at camp on Greer's Ferry Lake. Man, that's what I need to be doing. I need to be sitting at camp on the lake. I got to get up and go work tomorrow, so I can't do that. But hey, that's nice. So anyway, you know, those fish are going to be tight to that brush when you find them midday. When you find those fish midday, they're going to be tight to the brush, and you're going to have to get tight to the brush, okay? You're not going to be able to, well, no, the reel go. There it is. You're not going to be able to just throw around the brush pile and have those fish come out and hammer it. Now, some of them you might, but for the most part, you're going to have to get tight in there to the brush, and that means you're going to lose a lot of jigs. I'm sorry. That's just crappie fishing. You know, all my customers that I take out, they say, oh, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lose a jig. I'm like, man, look, if you ain't losing jigs, we ain't crappie fishing. You're fine. Don't worry about it. You're good. You need to be losing jigs, okay? So, again, how long have we been on? Okay, well, we're 47 minutes. All right, we try to stay on for an hour, all right? That's the thing. We try to stay on for an hour, and we're getting there. So we're at 47 minutes. We got one more thing to show you guys. Oh, I thought I heard something weird in that reel, and I didn't. Okay, so, again, you're going to have to get tight to the brush. You're just going to have to. I hate it for you. I'm sorry for you, but that's just the way it is, okay? You're going to have to get tight to the brush, and you're going to have to lose some jigs in the summer. But it can be really productive, really, really productive, okay? So go out there, catch you some. Another thing about summer fishing, everybody says, well, I don't like fishing in the summer because my fish, you know, they're not as firm. Really, the fillets aren't as firm as they are when the water's cold. Well, that's true. But let me give you a little tip about that. So if you take a cooler, okay, forget the live well in the summer. Get you a cooler. Get you a cheap cooler. It doesn't have to be an expensive cooler. Just get you a cheap cooler. Rick says, excellent content. I learned more in 10 minutes than I have in 40 years. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that, buddy. Make sure you give me a thumbs up. If you do not care, please, please, please give me that thumbs up. Give me that like. That way everybody else knows that it's good content. That's how you guys can help out. Give me that thumbs up, and I appreciate you. So, again, get you a cooler. Get you a small cooler. It doesn't have to be a giant cooler. You can fit a lot of crappie in just an average, you know, size cooler. You can fit more crappie in there than you think you can. But get you a cooler. Fill that joker with ice. Okay, before you go to the lake, fill it 3/4 of the way up with ice. And when you get to the lake, you're out there fishing, start putting fish in there. If you have to take a little ice out of the lake, what did he do? Take it out, throw it in the lake. It's not a big deal. You can put your fish in there, but fill it up 3/4 of the way, get it nice and cold, and put your fish on ice. If you know you're going to keep them, okay, you know you're going to go catch fish and you want to keep fish, put them on ice. Right after you catch them, take them home, fillet them. First of all, they're not flopping around when you're trying to fillet them. Second of all, that meat will firm up just like it does in the winter or the spring or the fall. It will firm up and it will be absolutely delicious, just like any other time of the year. But that is the key. Getting them on ice, getting them cold, getting those fillets firmed up. That is the trick. Okay. I have been asked about bleeding fish. 6 one, half dozen of the other. I don't bleed my crappie. I do bleed my saltwater fish. Okay. My saltwater fish, I do bleed, but I do not bleed crappie. I do bleed walleye and sauger, but I do not bleed crappie. Crappie is about as white as it comes. I mean, it's about as clean as a fish as you're going to get as far as freshwater is concerned. It is the filet mignon of freshwater fishing. Okay. So I don't bleed it. I don't bleed my crappie. I don't see it necessary, but you can bleed them if you want to. If you want to bleed them. You know, hey, more power to you. If you're going to bleed fish, then I probably would use the live well. I'd, bleed them, throw them in the live well, or cut them, throw them in the live well, let them bleed out, put them in the cooler. Okay, but the cooler is key. Ice in the cooler is key, and that is, like I said, what I do. That's my summer routine. Okay, my summer routine is 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm done pulling crankbaits. But if I, want to catch a few more fish, say I don't quite have a limit yet, or I just want to go catch fish and have fun, that's when I start hitting the brush piles and, midday. But you got to get deep. You got to get down in them, okay? You got to get down there where the fish are. All right, so we're going to move some of this stuff out of the way. And I'm going to push you guys because you guys are on a rolling table now. So I'm telling you, we gotten sophisticated. So I can roll you guys around the shop now. Look at here. All right, let me back you up. And I'm going to try to bring this thing in here to where I've got, let's see, where I got you guys, or you guys can see the best way possible. I don't know really how I'm going to do it yet, but we'll figure that out here in just a minute. Okay, let's pull you over here. Let's push you over here a little bit. Okay. All right. All right, I'm going to go open this garage door, and it's going to be a little loud, okay? So if you got your volume up, turn your volume down because I'm getting ready to open the garage door. I don't want it to blare. I don't want it to just blare out everybody's speaker. But I'm going to open the garage door, and we're going to roll something in here for you guys. Hold on a second. So, got something that we are going to not really transition to, but we're going to start using a lot more of. Let me get it in. All right, let's close the garage door. All right, guys and gals. This is actually my grandfather's boat, okay? This was my Pop-Pop's boat, if you will. For you guys on Facebook, I'm going to pick that phone up just a second. Okay? That is Pop-Pop's boat right there. It is a 14-foot Duracraft. Okay? 14-foot Duracraft. And we are going to take this boat and go crappie fishing. Because everybody's seen that boat. And everybody knows that that boat has every electronic on it that is available in today's fishing world. This one does not. Okay? This one is old school, baby. Where's Joe Nash at? It's old school. That's old school right there. Now, it's got the new school motor on it. Don't get me wrong. That's got that new 99 Merc on it, okay? That new 4-stroke, because 4-strokes are – all right. I was a 2-stroke man for a long time. Told people I'd never have a 4-stroke. Well, guess what? I got 2 of them now because I got one over there and I got one right here, okay? So we are going to take this boat, okay, and we are going to go crappie fishing. And we're going to do it old school. We're going to take you guys. We're going to go back to our roots, okay? I started crappie fishing in a 12-foot aluminum john boat in a V-hole 12-footer. You couldn't even stand up in it because if you did, it would rock back and forth so bad that you would fall out of the boat, okay? So been working on this thing and finally have it to where I'm happy with it. We got new wheels and tires. We got new bunk boards. We got new carpet on all the bunks. We got the trailer welded in multiple places. Got everything where it needs to be. Got new guide poles put on it. Got the motor for the boat. Got the boat welded because there were several leaks in the boat. Got the boat welded. That boat doesn't leak a drop anymore because this is what we took saltwater fishing with us this last week. So you're going to see that video. Got new seats for it, which you can see the seat in the back right there. And then there's a seat up front on the front deck, which you guys can see right there. Okay. Got a Motor Guide i3 trolling motor on the front. I put a new floor in it because everybody knows in those john boats, they've got those ribs that go through it. Put foam in the floor and put a horse mat down over that to get that to where it's a flat floor. Okay. I'd take you guys and show you, but I can't really move my computer right now. I guess we could probably move Facebook. Let's see. All right. So new seats. Okay. New camouflage seats. There is the new floor. If you're on YouTube, I'm sorry, but new motor. We have one Lowrance unit right there. That is an HDS 8. Okay. HDS 8. Woo-wee. HDS 8 Gen 1 unit in there with side imaging. We got, what's up, Corey? We got one side imaging transducer on the boat. That's it. An HDS 8, the old Gen 1 model. Okay. We got one transducer back there on the back, which on YouTube, you can see it right there. Okay. On the phone, on Facebook, we got one little bitty transducer right there. That's it. Okay. So we're going to take that and we're going to show you guys. We're going to go back to showing you guys exactly how we started. Okay. Catching crappie without electronics, catching crappie the old school way. Not every one of you guys that watch this channel, not everybody that watches Wired has the ability to purchase those units that are up there on the front of that other boat. I mean, that's got a Minn Kota Ultrex on the front of it with spot lock and every bell and whistle you could have. It's got, 2 Garmin live scopes on the front of it for tournament fishing, 2 seats in the front of the boat. It's wide, it's stable, it's this, it's that. Let's go back old school. Let's go back to the days of where the fish at, how do we catch them without all that electronics, okay? I love the electronics, don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing live scope. I love live scope. But, hey, Dave Williams, there he is. I started in a V-hole, caught a ton trolling grubs. That's how I started, man. I mean, just polarized sunglasses for the win. Yeah. Kenny Evans. What's up, Kenny? Good to see you. Let's see. Corey says, similar boat to my son. He uses his as a carp killer. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Perfect for Madex Bay, White River. Absolutely. Don't forget to break out the paddle. We got a paddle. As a matter of fact, I upgraded the paddle. The paddle is upgraded now. So it did have just a paddle that laid in the floor in there. It was a green paddle. It was all beat up and bent and everything else. Just an old green paddle like you have for a canoe. So I upgraded the paddle. I got one of those extendable ones where you can extend it. You know what I mean? And it's in the front deck. It does have a standing deck on the front of it that's built in. There's a standing deck up front. But just really looking forward to getting this boat back out there, running around, fishing these areas and we're going to start in the summer. I mean, we're going to start in summer, fall, spring. We're going to take this boat and we're going to go do some old school. And I don't really want to say old school because it's not old school, guys. It's not the old way of doing things. I mean, there's still a ton of crappie fishermen that fish this way, that fish out of this boat, that do it like this. There's nothing wrong with that. This is the way that crappie fishing was born, okay? This is the way that crappie fishing grew its roots. Now, all that stuff over there in that Ranger, okay, all that stuff over there is once that tree matured and flushed out, that's the flowers on that tree. But the roots of that crappie fishing tree were right here. They're right here in this boat, okay? They're right here. The old guys and the young guys alike that got in one of these boats and beat the banks and threw the laydowns and caught them on minnows and, you know, absolutely just loved to fish and loved to go out there. And it didn't matter if they caught 150 or 3, okay? They were out there, they were fishing, they were having fun, they were enjoying the experience, and they didn't care what was up on the front of the boat. They didn't care if they had a great trolling motor. They didn't care if they loved the sport. They loved going out there and experiencing the adventure. That's what we're going to do out of this. We're going to make some memories, and we're going to have some adventures. We're going to take you guys along to do it. So really looking forward to that. That boat did fantastic down in the salt this week. Absolutely had a blast out of that thing last week. Just fishing. Okay? Just fishing. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Probably going to do a lot of pulling, a lot of trolling. Got to get some rod holders on it, obviously, but probably going to do a lot of trolling. Probably going to do a lot of slip floating. Probably going to do a lot of casting brush. Probably going to do some stock shooting. Probably going to do some different stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll still do live scope videos. Don't get me wrong. And also, we're set up in the front to record the live scope to where I can show you guys, because I've had a lot of people be like, Matt, show your live scope so we can watch those fish come up and go, woo, and you set the hook. So we got that set up over there. We're going to get you some footage of fish catches on the live scope. So we're going to do that, okay? But that's not going to be all we do. It's not going to be all we do. We're going to be in this baby right here, and we're going to be slumming it, all right? But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a blast. I appreciate you guys, as always. Hang on one second. Corey says, I caught roughly 80 to 100 crappies yesterday without any electronics. Awesome, man. That's what it's all about, for sure. The buzzing from all the electronics is spooking fish. The more they are hit with the pinging, the more they learn to stay away, says Corey. You know, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. I think that fish learn, they feel that, because they have a lateral line, right? Crappie have a lateral line, and they feel that vibration, they feel that ping, in my opinion. And I feel like, yes, because you can, like, let's say you're shooting a dock with live scope, okay? You got live scope, and the fish are sitting right here. You can shine that live scope over on that dock, and it's almost like you can watch those fish move. Now, they won't leave the dock, but they'll move over here. And then you'll shine your live scope over there and say, okay, there they are. And they'll move over here. It's kind of weird because you'll see those fish kind of move as you move your live scope around and leave your live scope on them. It's really strange. So I'm not going to say that absolutely happens, but I have seen signs of that as well. And I sometimes wonder, because you'll pull up on a brush pile and you'll catch 2 or 3 fish and then they shut off. I almost wonder if, you know, it's taking a few minutes or a few seconds for them to register that, hey, that ping or that vibration or that what we're feeling is danger. I'm liking this roller seat. I can tell you that right now. I'm going to roll around in this shop, talk to you guys. But I do believe that there is, Nathan says, great info. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Jackie Jordan, what's up? Jackie, you need to holler at me. I ain't talked to you in a while. You need to call me. The buzzing from all the electronics is spooking fish. Read that one. Just making sure I got you guys. Corey asked, did Mercury fix the motor when you blew a rod. Yes, they did. So for those that don't know, my Pro XS 150 that is back there on my Ranger, I put a new motor on that boat. Let's see, YouTube. Oh, snap. What'd it do? Oh, okay. Make sure you guys are still there. About to drop my phone. All right, so that Mercury 150 right there. Put that Mercury on there. Oh, when was it? 2023? 22, 23? Somewhere around in there. Anyway, took that baby and blew her up, okay? Slung a rod straight through the side of the cowling, running down the lake wide open. The rod stuck out the side. I mean, just pew, right out the side of the cowling, blew the whole block out the side of it. Yes, Mercury did fix that. Now, I took it back to Tri-County Marine. The guys right there, Tri-County Marine, which over here on Facebook, but right there, little TCM. Tri-County Marine, those guys are absolutely great. I called Frankie from the lake at like 9 o'clock at night. I was like, man, it wasn't 9 o'clock. It was right before dark, and it was probably 8 o'clock. Okay. Called Frankie, and I said, man, I just blew my motor up. And he said, how do you know? I said, well, there's a rod sticking out the side of it. And he said, yep, that'll do it. And he said, that's definitely blown up. I said, yeah, it is. Anyway, he said, bring it up here in the morning. I said, all right. So I took it up there to him. Obviously, with Mercury, they have to do certain things. They had to put it on a on a computer and check, make sure I didn't overheat it, make sure I didn't over rev it, make sure all those things were copacetic. They were. Nothing. It didn't find any overheats, any over revs, nothing to be concerned about. And they warrantied it. Okay. Warrantied it 100%, fixed the motor, put a new power head in it. No problem. Been running it ever since. It's run like a top. I hadn't had any other issues. But if I do, still under warranty. So, blow another one up, I'll put another one on there. I'm going to run it like she's a scalded dog. Okay. I'm going to run it within the parameters of the motor. But I'm going to run her like she's a scalded mule. I'm going to beat her. I'm going to beat on her, okay? I'm going to whip her until she craps out or until she doesn't, one of the two. But that's what that motor's for. It's to go out there and it's to run and it's to do its job, okay? So we're going to make it do its job. But, yeah, Yamaha's a good motor. Yamahas have their issues too. That roller set. Oh, that roller seat's legit. Yeah. Yeah. I like a roller seat. So, again, got a lot of good things coming. Can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, you guys are going to get to come with us and watch and do all the cool things with us. So, we're going to get that little John out and we're going to do some crappie fishing. And I'm looking forward to it. So, with that being said, we're going to call it a night because we've now been on for a little over an hour. And we try to keep them to an hour so that you guys don't get wore out and so that my voice doesn't get wore out. Because honestly, I'm struggling right now. My voice is getting a little wore down because it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've been on live. So I appreciate you guys, as always, for joining. I appreciate everything y'all do for the channel. Hopefully, spread the word. Tell everybody we're back. We're doing it, and we are excited about it. Okay? We're going to keep doing it. So make sure you tell all your friends, all your family, call your buddies, let them know Wired's back. We're doing the lives and videos are on the way. So got a lot of cool stuff coming. Share the lives, share the channel, do all the good things. Like, share, subscribe. Bang! You're supposed to say that. YouTube tells you you're supposed to say that in every video. Like, share, subscribe. Subscribe, baby, subscribe. They tell you that's what you got to do. You got to be a broken record. I don't like being a broken record. So you guys just do it, and I don't have to be a broken record. All right. So thank y'all for watching. It's going to be really fun. Oh, Lightwire Hooks. What's up, Russell? What's going on? Dave Williams can catch a bunch. We're going to try to, Dave. You do as well. Come up ice fishing. All right. I just need an invite. I need an invite. Tell me when. I'd love to ice fish. I'm game. So, as always, God bless. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Appreciate you for watching.